Hey, it's Sam here with the little man. He has been fighting his sleep pretty hard lately. He was just crying and crying and all that stuff. You're seeing him at a good time. I didn't start the camera till he was almost on the other end of that. So hopefully he'll settle down for a nap. Or not a nap, for bedtime, for a long time. Yeah. See, little guy, is this not simpler? Is this not your natural state? Oh, wait. And that line is from our movie tonight. Okay? Or our story tonight. Are you ready for a story? You want to hear a story, finally? Okay. Once upon a time, in the Marvel Universe, there came a day unlike any other, when Earth's mightiest heroes were called upon to unite against a common threat. Yeah. So all the heroes who we've been learning about so far are going to be together in this movie, and they're going to be a team eventually. Isn't that cool? So it started at a SHIELD base with Nick Fury. Remember him? He was the master spy. And Dr. Eric, Thor's friend, was there. And Hawkeye. Remember, he's the guy with the bow and arrow. He appeared for a little bit in Thor. But guess who else was there, Benny? It was Loki. Surprise! He wasn't dead after all. He came back because comics and movies and stuff and magic. And Loki wanted to steal a Tesseract because they were doing experiments on the Tesseract. That was the cube of power that the Red Skull and some other people had used. And Loki was trying to steal it to do nefarious things, no doubt. And he had a staff that he could poke it at people, and it would use mind control. It would put them under his control, almost as if there was some kind of mind stone inside the staff. And that, Benny, is a literary device known as foreshadowing. Keep that in mind for later. And so he made Dr. Eric and Hawkeye be under his control. And they stole the Tesseract and escaped from the base. And then Nick Fury said, "It's time to call in the team." And the team he meant was the Avengers. Okay, so let's see. Captain America, Steve, was already there at the SHIELD base, exercising and stuff, and trying to adjust to being in a new world or a new time. Let's see. Phil Coulson, remember him? He's a secret agent, Nick Fury's helper. He went to go talk to Tony Stark and get him to join, and even though at first in the last movie they said, like, we're not sure if Tony Stark can join yet, this time they need heroes, and they're bringing him in. So they went to ask Tony and Pepper, and Tony came in. And then Black Widow, Natasha, remember her from Iron Man 2? She went to go find Bruce Banner, and she asked him to come in. And now, they said, Benny, they only wanted Banner's expertise in gamma radiation. They weren't interested in the Hulk, but we all know he turns into the Hulk. So they got those five. Let's see. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye all together. Who's missing? I think we might have one more in a little bit. And then Loki began attacking some people in Germany because he wanted, I don't even remember what he wanted, but he was getting something from there for his plan and doing something bad. And then Captain America came down to stop him, and they had a fight. And that was pretty cool. And he saved the people. And Iron Man was there too. I think he didn't do much till after Cap came on the scene. But yeah, Cap and Iron Man were both there, and they captured Loki and put him in handcuffs and brought him back to their base. The end. Just kidding. It's not the end. Loki, it seems, had some sinister plans, and I think getting captured was actually just part of his plans, because he's a sneaky guy. Remember, he's a sneaky, tricky guy. So they were bringing him back to the base in an airplane, and there was suddenly a bunch of lightning and thunder, and guess who shut up, Benny? It was Thor, remember, the god of thunder, and Loki's brother. And he wanted to take Loki back to Asgard, but Iron Man didn't want him to because Loki was a prisoner of Earth, and Thor thought, well, he's a prisoner of Asgard, he needs to face his crimes. So they landed, and Captain America and Iron Man and Thor kind of all had a big fight. Not really a big fight, more like a showdown that could have almost been a fight. But they kind of realized they were on the same team, so they didn't. I think they fought a little bit, but then they became friends. And somehow, mysteriously, Loki didn't escape during all that time, which shows he was definitely up to something, up to no good. So anyway, even though he was up to no good, they brought him back to the base, the Shield base, which is a floating helicarrier in the sky. It's like a big airplane, kind of, with like rooms and labs and stuff inside it. Because why wouldn't it be? That's going to be relevant. And so on the airplane, or the helicarrier, they were trying to figure out what Loki's plan might be. And they also started to bond as a team, but kind of not really. Like Bruce Banner and Tony Stark started becoming like science bros and good friends. But then Tony and Steve were kind of both going at it with each other because they both kind of didn't like each other, Steve is a rules guy. He's kind of the traditional good guy, and Tony is kind of the bad boy, and they kind of didn't like each other. And Hawkeye wasn't there because remember he's still under mind control, and Black Widow, who is friends with Hawkeye, and wants to rescue him. She talked to Loki to try to figure out his plan, and she figured out that his plan involved the Hulk. They had Loki in a special jail cell. And then sometime after that, after they were all like arguing and kind of learned stuff, and some of Shield's secrets got revealed. That was a subplot. I'm just giving you the highlights here. Then Benny, Loki and Hawkeye showed up like on a different airplane, and Hawkeye shot an exploding arrow at them. And remember, he's a good guy normally, but he's under mind control by the bad guy. So right now he's not on their side, and their whole ship exploded. Not the whole ship, but there was an explosion, and a bunch of stuff got wrecked. And Bruce Banner started turning into the Hulk because that's what he does in stressful situations. And so then the Hulk's out of control, and Thor tried to fight him, and that was pretty interesting to see Thor and Hulk fighting because they're both really strong. And Captain America and Iron Man started to try to fix the ship and then work together to do that. And I think there's going to be a lot more highlights. Loki tricked Thor into going into Loki's jail cell, and then he sent it down to Earth. So Loki escaped. He's out of his cell now, and Phil Coulson shot him with a laser gun thing, and tried to kill him. But since Loki is so powerful, he's hard to kill, and he didn't die from that. And guess what, Benny was very sad. Loki killed Phil Coulson, and Phil Coulson died, and never to come back again until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't know if we'll get to that story. So now the Avengers were all scattered about, and what's going to happen? I'll skip. I think it's close to it. After they mourned Phil Coulson, Tony was back at his house, his big mansion house back in New York, and Loki came to see him somehow for some reason. Let me adjust you. So Teddy's arms are getting tired. And no, you're okay. And they had a talk. I mean, Iron Man was, I think, kind of stalling for time / taunting Loki, but he said, we have a plan and stuff like that, and we have a Hulk. And Loki was bringing his army from space because he has a space army of mindless bad guys called Chitauri. He was going to bring them to Earth to help him conquer Earth. And Dr. Eric was building a space portal with the Tesseract, almost as if there was some kind of space stone inside the Tesseract powering it up. Who knows if that'll be relevant in future movies or not. And they were working on that. And then Tony put on his suit, Loki tried to mind control Tony, but he couldn't because of the armor thing, or the arc reactor thing in his chest. And Tony put on his suit and started to zap Loki. But then, skipping a little bit, Loki opened up his portal in space, and a bunch of bad aliens came through. They were the Chitauri, and they were an army. And then the rest of the Avengers showed up, that's right. Somewhere, I guess, I think this was actually back in the ship, maybe. Black Widow fought Hawkeye while he was still mind control, but she like banged his head or something, cause that's how you get free from mind control apparently. So Hawkeye is unmind controlled. He's back on the good side again. So now, all six of them are together, and they're gonna fight the bad guys in the middle of New York, and they have a big fight. Like there's so many aliens, bad guys, but you see Hulk smashing them, and you see Thor and Captain America smashing them, and Hawkeye shooting arrows, and you know, Black Widow kicking and punching them, I guess. Yeah, and like everyone's fighting the aliens, and Bruce Banner reveals he can kind of control when he turns into the Hulk because he's always angry, and that was a relevant plot point, I guess. So there's this big fight, but meanwhile, the government people who Nick Fury works for don't think the Avengers can handle it, and they're going to try to shoot a missile to the area to destroy all the aliens, but the problem with that is it will destroy the good people too, and they don't want to do that. So Nick Fury tries to talk them out of it, but they wouldn't listen to him because that's what shadowy authorities in movies never do. So there was the big fight with the aliens, and then the government sent a big exploding missile to the place where the battle was as well. But when it got there, Tony Stark found it because he was Iron Man and he was in his suit, and he was able to direct the missile into the portal where the bad guy's ship was, and it went to their ship and it exploded their ship, and then the Chitauri all kind of fell down lifeless because that's what happens when their ship is dead, I guess. I guess they were like controlled by it or something. And Tony Stark almost didn't fall back out of the portal, but he did, and the Hulk caught him, and then he talked about getting shawarma, and then the fight was over, and they saved the day. And Loki went back to the to inside Tony Stark's house, and he was like being mean to the Hulk. He was like, "Enough, you dull creature! I am a god!" And the Hulk just picked him up like a rag doll and smashed him against the floor a bunch of times, and it was so cool. And the Hulk called him puny, and that was cool. So then it was over, and the Avengers were a team now, and they'll always be around again if any other bad things happen, like every 3 years in a movie. And that's pretty much the end. So they became a team after all that. All those different people together working together became a team. But then Benny, and they took Loki home to Asgard. Thor took him home to Asgard to be in prison there, and he'll show up again. But then we saw the people who Loki was working for in space. There was a Chitauri guy, but there was also a purple smiling guy named Thanos. And they said, "To challenge the humans is to court death." And Thanos smiled at that, which implies his love for death, which is a major plot part in the comics that didn't end up following in the movies, but I digress. So he'll be important in future movies. And then the Avengers all had shawarma together, and they just became friends. The end. Okay. Oh, and they all lived happily ever after until the next movie. Okay. You are asleep now, so I'm not going to drag this out any longer. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and we'll see you next time.